More Than Money Matters, Redefining Poverty and Its Measurement by Lilly, Grella, and Juneau II. What is poverty? Iceland, the author of Poverty in America, defines poverty as economic or income deprivation. In the U.S. today, most people would agree with Iceland's definition. In fact, the official poverty definition, as defined by the U.S. Census Bureau, uses money income before taxes and does not use capital gains or non-cash benefits. However, does income lowness fully define poverty? We are inclined to say no. When investigating the etymology of the word poverty, we found the modern English word is derived from the 12th century old French word pauvreté, which translates to wretched condition. So yes, income lowness could be a factor of a wretched condition. However, many other things can contribute to it. More than money matters. Therefore, we believe that a more adequate definition of poverty is Nussbaum's interpretation of central capability failure, the idea that a person experiencing poverty is lacking the resources and capabilities essential for living a dignified life. Moreover, we believe a better method of measuring poverty has a twofold focus: income lowness measured by a modified supplemental poverty measurement combined with various discursive measures to identify capability failure. So what exactly is Nussbaum's interpretation of the capability approach? Let's start with the basics. Capabilities define what a person can do or be. A person's characteristics are their internal capabilities. For example, Lisa is a very good singer, and her singing ability is one of her internal capabilities. In addition to these internal capabilities, a person has external opportunities, which allow for substantial freedoms. Substantial freedoms are external opportunities that are actually attainable. For example, a choir class offered at Lisa's school would be an external opportunity that is a substantial freedom. However, a choir class offered in a school on the other side of Lisa's town is not a substantial freedom because it is unattainable. Together, her internal capabilities and her external opportunities make up her combined capabilities. For Nussbaum, there are 10 combined capabilities that are vital for maintaining basic human dignity, which she calls central capabilities. These central capabilities are life, bodily health, bodily integrity, senses, imagination, and thought, emotions, practical reason, affiliation, other species, play, and control over one's political and material environment. Nussbaum believes that practical reason and affiliation are two of the most important central capabilities to possess. Nussbaum says that these capabilities are failed when they do not meet the necessary standard for basic human dignity. Central capability failure can occur in many ways. For example, if Lisa is unable to eat an adequate amount of food due to income lowness, we would say that her bodily health capability has failed. Moreover, if Lisa is subjected to social injustices, such as Jim Crow laws, then we would say that her capabilities of affiliation, body integrity, and control over one's environment, among others, are failed. Therefore, capability failure can look like many different things. However, it will always be defined as poverty. Overall, Nussbaum's central capabilities failure approach to defining poverty is much more holistic than previous definitions, which focused on income lowness. As said by Sen, if concern is failure of certain minimal capabilities because of lack of economic means, we can't identify poverty simply as low income. The extent of deprivation may be underjudged if we concentrate only on the size of income. Therefore, a person experiencing poverty is lacking the resources and capabilities essential for living a dignified life, becomes the best definition of the word, as it incorporates non-monetary issues into it. Now that we have our definition of poverty, we can talk about how we can best measure it.
We believe that the best measurement for poverty is a modified supplemental poverty measurement and various discursive measures to identify capability failure. But let's begin by pondering the situation given to us by Sen. There are two people. Let's name them Steve and Lisa. Steve has an lower income than Lisa. However, Lisa has a kidney problem that has to be on dialysis machine. That costs a lot, and it ultimately makes her more impoverished than Steve. In this situation, who is poorer? The one with less income or the one who has a restricted capability set? According to the measurement type in America now, Steve is poorer. America uses a measurement called the OPM, or the official poverty measurement. The OPM is an absolute form of measurement, which means it remains constant in regards to the standard of living. It can increase or decrease due to inflation only. Here in the U.S., there's a wide range of support for this type of measure. It has two components: poverty thresholds and definition of family income via resources. These resources that the OPM accounts for are gross annual pre-tax income, cash welfare such as TANF, and family members who are legally connected in a single household. The threshold for the OPM is defined by Molly Orchansky's Thrifty Food Basket, which she defines as being a monotonous but sustainable diet, and according to her studies consists of 1/3 of a household's needed income to account for FCSU needs. This threshold does adjust for inflation and family size. Iceland refers to it as easy to understand and intuitively appealing. Even though this is true, this measure is not necessarily the most accurate and has many flaws. For example, the OPM does not account for near cash or in-kind benefits, nor does it account for non-discretionary expenses such as taxes, transportation costs for work, or medical expenses. In addition, the OPM doesn't account for differences due to geographical location. This is important because purchasing power changes by region. For example, $20,000 in New York City has much less purchasing power than $20,000 in a rural area. Moreover, the OPM does not account for modern household compositions. One disadvantage to the OPM that Iceland brings up quickly in his article states that as standards of living change, so do people's perceptions of what poverty means. This brings up the fact that poverty is a relative term. However, the OPM is an absolute measurement. The OPM also has no stratification, which means it doesn't show the depth of poverty. Of course, the greatest flaw of the OPM is that it is extremely outdated in determining the actual poverty line. Molly Orchansky's Thrifty Food Basket was assembled in the 1960s. Today's tests show that food only uses about 1/6 of a family's income. In response to this, we have the modified SPM, or Supplemental Poverty Measure. This measure allows for the inefficiencies of the OPM to be addressed. The SPM also looks at income from all sources, from in-kind to near cash, that go into satisfying the FCSU needs. The non-discretionary expenses that ultimately subtract from an income, such as taxes, child support, and medical out-of-pocket expenses, also go into the SPM measure. An important thing to also note is that the fact that under the OPM, only families that live at the same address that are blood or marriage related are calculated together. In the SPM, all individuals living at the same address, including unrelated co-resident children and cohabitors and their children. The SPM also takes into consideration geographical location. In addition, our modified version of the SPM would be stratified to depict the depth of poverty, and it would be calculated using updated figures that apply to life today, not life in the 60s. While it is important to note that we believe the SPM does a better job at more accurately measuring poverty, there are still some drawbacks associated with it. For one, the SPM is an absolute measure. Just as with the OPM, the absolute quantities of the SPM still does not capture the holistic picture of poverty, as money is not the sole influencing factor. Even by saying the SPM is the way to go, to get rid of the OPM, with some minor adjustments to overcome the outdated style, in measuring poverty is also a bad decision. Having both the OPM and the SPM gives those studying the numbers data to compare to one another. One benefit of this is that analysts can determine the successes and failures of the near cash and in-kind benefits, as the OPM doesn't include them, but the SPM does. If used properly and with the right intentions, the SPM and OPM complement each other in the best of ways, but the SPM should ultimately be the finalized measurement due to its more inclusive view of poverty. Our definition of central capabilities failure taught us that poverty can sometimes be a result of income lowness, which we can measure with our modified SPM. However, often poverty is a result of other factors such as social injustice, which we will account for using discursive measures. Essentially, we will have to study polls and statistics such as mortality rates, life expectancy, access to healthcare, and many others in order to draw analytical conclusions about possible central capability failures. This, of course, is not a perfect system. However, it does to some degree address the central capability failures not due to income lowness, which is something that no other measurement does.
So what exactly is poverty? We believe that poverty is the infringement of basic human dignity, via the failure of Nussbaum's central capabilities. And how do we measure it? Using a modified SPM and various discursive measures, we can identify central capability failures, those caused by income lowness or other factors, such as social injustice.